Traders, what is going on? Happy Friday. Good to see you guys in here today. We got a good one for you guys today. CoinFox in the building. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see and hear that you made it out safe. UAVS was a tough one. Watched that one live. Not pretty, but to come unscathed nearly, that's very impressive. So awesome work there. For those of you who do not know, UAVS yesterday was kind of the stock with all the volume, pre-market and market open. And this one started getting a little weak down here in this somewhat of a bear flag pattern. It's kind of like a bouncy ball, makes a high, then a lower high, then a lower high, coming down to that trend line, ended up cracking that support, and man, selling off really hard. Halted at 290, opened up at like $1.50. 290, opening up at $1.50. Isn't that the craziest thing ever? It would absolutely be terrifying being in a halt. Panic selling like that. So traders, for those of you who are new this morning, we got our gap up watch list, top left over here, gap down watch list, bear scan watch list. These are overbought stocks. Good short potential plays here. Our market summary this morning, not looking the best. Seen a little bit slight decline this morning. I got an email from CNBC Morning Squawk, and they said this is the best month that the Dow has seen since 1987. But then also in that email, I read there's 30 million people without jobs, though. So a little ironic there. Best month ever since 1987, but 30 million people lost their jobs. So market's seen a little bit of a retracement this morning. After Trump had announced maybe putting some more sanctions on China. So traders, our gap up watch list, our leading gapper this morning is going to be MDGS. This has been one of those plays the last week that has been seeing some hype and attention. We see it's a 4 million float, highlighted blue, meaning lower float. Yesterday, something I want to point out with UAVS, it had 9 million shares traded, and just like we had talked about yesterday, CoinFox, the float rotation, this one was trading 19 times its public float. It literally rotated that float, exchanged hands 19 times. It was like 170 some million shares traded on UAVS. Absolutely ridiculous. So what stock is going to see the hype and attention today? We had UAVS yesterday. We had CAPR couple days before that, in which CAPR is trying to hold its feet a little bit. That's the stock that cured the coronavirus. They all are. They're all curing the coronavirus. So CAPR still holding its feet a little bit. CAPR could regain the attention back today, quite honestly, because I don't think it's going to be MDGS. I don't think it's going to be MDGS. MDGS, they came out with some news. Let's go over it. I mean, we do the three different types of analysis: fundamental, technical, and trader analysis. MDGS, they received their first commercial order for COVID-19 testing kits. So COVID-19 is that hot word that we're looking for in all these PRs. It's what's attracting all the volume. That's what happened with CAPR. That's what's happening with MDGS. The problem with MDGS is when we do the technical analysis, when we look left of the chart on MDGS, is pretty terrible. So MDGS, pulling this chart up, is holding its feet right now here in pre-market. Not looking too bad. If you're going to play it, here's support right there at 375. So just respect that area. Patrick Wieland in the house. What's going on, man? I miss you. So MDGS, we're always looking left of the chart and taking a look at past chart history, understanding the stock's personality. So MDGS, our leading gapper this morning, 4 million float. We'll see what's going to happen here. We do have that support that is trying to break through there at that 375, 350 area. That's going to serve as support. But the problem here with MDGS is taking a look at the last week. It has been getting hype, volume, and attention this whole week, but take a look at this. Last week, it had a gap up. It came out with other news, COVID related, of course, um, and fell in pre-market. And then had a morning spike, faded all throughout the day. The next day came out with another hot press release, morning spike, blah blah blah, fade throughout the day. So MDGS is a known. It's just a known pump, and it's failed every single time this last week. So that's what I'm suspecting is going to happen today. It's also a Friday, but it is our leading gapper. That's where all the attention is right now. It's where all the hype is. So we'll see what's going to happen. Arthur, Patrick, CoinFox, what's going on, fellas? What is going on? Patrick, you going out on the boat today? So CAPR, this one's not looking bad. It came out with the news saying it cured the coronavirus. Similar to every PR that's coming out about the coronavirus. But this one is still kind of holding its legs a little bit. So it would not be surprising at all if this one did come back and get some type of follow-through momentum, follow-through volume on it. Wouldn't be surprising at all. A couple short plays we're looking at this morning off of the Bear Scan watch list. And CoinFox, thank you for the TECK play. I don't know if you saw my post, but I certainly gave you credit where credit is due on that. TECK yesterday traded at short right out of the gates. Ended up being a nice little play there. I still don't mind it this morning for a short as well. We had two nice strong green days and then a third day of consolidation. And now we are opening up a little bit lower, so we are going to have quite a few longs here underwater. I think we may start seeing a little bit of selling pressure today. We kind of had a doji star on the daily. CoinFox, Corona Power. That's exactly what it is. It's just, I mean, it's just funny. Like, I don't really pay attention to the fundamentals anymore, much at all. I'm just a technical trader. I'll find the windows of opportunity, get in and get out. But, you know, when everything's hot, you know, when Bitcoin was hot, every company was doing Bitcoin stuff. When there was a point in time when the shipping industry was super hot. All the companies coming out with news about shipping. When the coronavirus is hot, every company, every single one of them. It's humorous. You start finding it comical. But TECK, I like this. The same reason I liked all the other plays, ARCT and all the other shorts we were looking at, SM. We're going to get into some more, but TECK, what we're seeing here is the stock's going to be opening up around 850. 850. So we're seeing a little bit of a gap down. And what did we see yesterday going into the close? Somewhat of a bear flag, right? We go down, down, and then we start a trend going up. And this is oftentimes a bull trap. So some traders will see, oh, it's got a nice steady trend on it. Look at that. It's uptrending, it's uptrending, it's uptrending. When in reality, this is a bearish flag. So it ends up cracking that level. You know, we can play off of this risk here, off of this trend line. I'll extend that out. We'd like a pop at the start of the day, you know, to short into. Then we'll see what's going to happen from there. I also like SM this morning. SM is near its highs there at 425. This one the last few days, very similar to TECK. SSR is turned on SM, by the way. For those of you who do not know, short sale restriction. You cannot short on the bid. You got to limit the ask, which is extremely aggravating for those of you who are short sellers. OSW, large call sweep, SM. Roger that. OSW, this one had a very strong day yesterday. It's opening up a little bit lower as well. 660 is going to be resistance. Could certainly risk off of that. Over, under. So allow it to break. And if it holds that level, that's essentially what that means. Not going to get scared out of any position there. But OSW, TECK, SM, I do like those for shorts. MDGS, our leading gapper, our low float 4 million float stock this morning. We'll see if attention goes there. Keep your eyes on CAPR, that one on the back burner at least, because that one, I think CAPR is probably a better candidate than MDGS. We looked at MDGS's past chart history, especially the last week. Not looking good. Absolutely not looking good. The overall market's down a little bit. We had our best month since 1987, but also 30 million people are without jobs. Right. Doesn't mean it will run as it could be a hedge TCK. Absolutely. So traders, that's gonna be it. I'm gonna run through everything real quick for those of you who just now joining, and then do some questions, and we will get on with our trading day. It's gonna be a good day, guys. So MDGS leading gapper, 4 million float. Let's take a look at the news. Is of course coronavirus related. MDGS the last week not looking good. We gotta take a look left of the chart. Gap up. Spike, fail. Gap up, spike, fail. Gap up, spike, fail. Every single time the last week. So MDGS, that's what we're thinking there. CAPR still holding its feet. Had a nice push. Honestly, there were a lot. The reason this has probably not failed more is because there were a lot of shorts in on this. They got squeezed out. And still there's a lot of shorts that remain here. I know. So there was a lot of people who were blowing up on this. So let's just be mindful there. CAPR, throw it on the back burner. CoinFox, KURA. This one's not looking bad either. So it was respecting that resistance. Yeah, we were looking at this one the last few days, KURA. It's holding its 200-day moving average level. So I wouldn't necessarily be short at 1450, because this would kind of be somewhat one-to-one risk-reward here. Risking off of 16 with $14 support. But yeah, it is respecting that $16 area. I did notice those 2 days that it was tapping that level. So KURA, not bad. And then yesterday, I just want to go over a couple plays for you guys. It's fun looking in hindsight to see some patterns. You pull up some charts, like we'll pull up some hot plays real quick, like yesterday, UAVS. And this oftentimes happens. We'll get a spike on a stock. It forms a high here, 515, just like UAVS. Then what do we see? We see this descending triangle pattern. And the descending triangle pattern oftentimes occurs after a spike. We get a big, large spike on it, and then it starts forming this pattern. We have our base here, 375, and it turns into that bouncy ball, where you have higher high, lower high, lower high. It gets squeezed together towards that bottom trend line, ends up cracking it and failing. Another hot play yesterday, TLRY. Let's pull up this chart, and you can look at its history and kind of see the pattern it was forming. What was this one? It was a head and shoulders. So zooming into this chart here, we have our left shoulder here, 850. Right shoulder, tapped it again at 850. Our head, 875. We draw the neckline here, and as soon as it cracked it, try to get this little bounce, and then what was support becomes resistance. So then it taps 850, resistance, and then it starts pulling back down. So it's not a bad idea to sometimes just wait for these patterns to form. Don't always be so eager to just jump into some of these plays. Let's wait for the patterns to form. Then easy risk. Eric, how do you find shorts, Kevin, whenever the broker doesn't have them? Well, for instance, I use Thinkorswim charts here, but I trade on CMEG. I trade with CMEG. Let's pull up a chart on AA. What stock has shorts with Thinkorswim? Thinkorswim, you can't locate them. I was just going to provide you with an example. Usually on Thinkorswim, it'll say ETB if they're shortable. I'm not seeing it. AMD, what's a stock that's shortable? I don't have my CMEG on this computer pulled up, but what I can do on CMEG is click trade, and then at the very bottom, click short locate. So you click short locate, and then you can inquire about a stock. So enter the ticker symbol, and then what you'll do is inquire. I'll just throw in one share, inquire, just so I can see how much they're charging per share. and it'll say, 0.001 per share. You take a look at it. And then after that, enter in the amount of shares you want to locate, click your account, click locate, and then they'll send them to your account. Then you got them. And then with those shares that you did locate, let's say you locate 500 shares. You can use those 500 shares all throughout the day. You can rotate them just like UAVS rotated its float yesterday from 9 million shares in its float, and it traded, exchanged 160 some million shares. CoinFox, good to see you in here today. Later, man. Trade safe. Have a good day. So, Eric, I hope that answers your question with short locates. Once you locate the shares, you have them all day, until the close of the day. So with CMEG, you click trade, locate, then you'll be good to go. But traders, those are the shorts I'm looking at today. I like SM, I like TECK, I like OSW. These are all very similar patterns. Here's SM, here's TECK, OSW. What I do like about these is, for instance, OSW is these are kind of some of the requirements for some of these shorts that I like. For these hangover type of plays, we have a large gap up the day before, and preferably even a couple days, but one day works fine. But the setup gets a little bit better. You go from pocket pair of kings to pocket pair of aces, in my opinion. Whereas you have some of these charts like SM that 2 days in a row they had a very strong day. But OSW, here's one day. What I want is very light volume. When you have very light volume in pre-market and after hours, what I do want is a lot of volume ramping up into the close. So you get a lot of longs ramping this up into the close. Now they're underwater. It's very light volume in after hours pre-market, and these longs are still in this. And what they were expecting is a gap up. They were expecting a gap up in pre-market, and after hours they're not getting it. So what's going to happen? We're going to see people taking their profits from earlier in the day that were in this at $6 when it opens up at $6.26. Then you're also going to have people cutting their losses that were in this at $6.60, and you'll have some just looking to break even and get out. And so we normally do have a little bit of a sell-off out of the gates. These are some of the shorts I look for. I love these plays. OSW, SM, TECK right out of the gates yesterday. ARCT played that a couple days ago. There's this setup comes up all the time. And I like it because there's not a lot of attention on these plays. You have everybody focused on MDGS, the 4 million float, and there's hardly any volume here because all the volume came in at the ramp of Thursday. And so that's good for me as a short seller because I don't want there to be volume. The only volume I want to be there are longs exiting their position. So it ends up working out very well. Traders, 920. Usually go from 9 to 920. That's going to... you guys have any questions before we start the day? Probably not going to do a live trading video today. It's Friday. I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to trade and then enjoy the day. But guys, watch that video I did yesterday if you haven't already. It's how you can have a terrible day and still be green, with proper risk management. Just many people don't want to learn how to trade. It's frustrating. People want hot picks more than they want to learn how to trade. But CAPR, keep that on your back burner. MDGS is testing its pre-market highs at the moment, but MDGS the whole last week, we're looking at the chart. The whole last week. The entire last week, gap up. And I'm just going to guess that every single time the stock had a gap up, it was like they cured the coronavirus. Because that's what every stock's doing right now. All right, they cured the coronavirus. They get us morning spike, fail. They cured it again, morning spike, fail. It's just failing every single time. Why would we expect anything different? Looking at this 3-year chart, every time this thing spikes, it comes back down. Look at all these ice pick guys. Ice picks everywhere. Yeah, Eric, price action is everything. You don't need anything other than price action. There are highly successful traders that only use price action. You don't need level 2. You don't need times and sales. All you need is price action, because The level 2, the times of sales, is just a reflection of what the price action is already saying. So that is a video I want to do. It's going to take me a little bit of time because I do want to record a lot of price action and compile it together, make a pretty solid video on it. But yeah, at level 2, all that stuff smoke and mirrors, honestly. Price action is everything. Any questions before we wrap it up, guys? Got a few minutes till the market opens on up. Watching SMTCKOSW for shorts. MDGS is our low float penny gap up leader of the day. CAPR on the back burner. I think CAPR could get some more attention versus MDGS. XOM on earnings today. Yeah, XOM right here, not too bad. It's sitting right up at resistance. About 46 bucks. So we see yesterday, pretty much the entire day looks like a descending triangle. That followed that trend pretty nicely. Yeah, so just played off of that trend. Up, if it gets back over 46, could have a nice green day today. Its overall daily chart doesn't look too bad. Kind of looks like the SPY. Yeah, look at XOM. Look at the SPY. Woo, same thing. So it's respecting what the SPY is doing, essentially. Yeah, so just keep both of those on watch. It's funny. A lot of companies this morning were coming out with we got some earnings coming out, and being earnings season, and companies are coming out with terrible earnings because of the coronavirus, but they're better than expected in a way. Some of these companies are coming out with terrible earnings. That's why they say buy the, sell the rumor, buy the news, or sell the. Oh my God, I just tongue twisted myself up. Buy the rumor, sell the news. But I was trying to say the opposite of that. Buy the rumor, sell the news, buy the rumor. So these companies, they're analysts are projecting their earnings are going to be, I don't know, something terrible. And then they come out with the earnings and they're still terrible, but they're not as terrible as expected. For instance, UAL. UAL just did that. United American Airlines. See, they came out with live news this morning. United Airlines reports $1.7 billion loss in Q1. Which was after airlines post United Airlines stocks gain after airline posts narrower Q1 loss. So the stock is going up after they lost $1.7 billion. It's just funny how that works. And it works on the opposite side too. I used to see news all the time come out that looked so positive. I'm like, wow, this stock is selling off and the news is positive. Why is that? I just never understood the concept of buy the rumor, sell the news. People are buying the anticipation of it. When the news lands, that's when everyone's selling their position. It could be good news, stock tanks. It could be bad news, and the stock goes up. It's just the way it works. All right, traders, we got a few minutes till the market opens. We will see you all first thing Monday morning. All right, guys. Predefine your risk. Trade safe. See you all then.